Let's talk some sports, baby.
Remember, make tomorrow better than today and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we gonna do. We gonna holler at you until next time, baby.
Let's move over to the NFC and cover our other three playoff games. The LA Rams stunned the Seahawks Saturday, taking a 30-20 win over their division rival. The Rams started John Wolford at quarterback, but he was quickly taken out of the game by a big hit from Jamal Adams. Jared Goff, despite the thumb injury, was able to come in and manage the game while the Rams defense absolutely trashed the Seahawks attack. So, Jay, I guess we got to give the Rams some credit. That's a big performance, huh?
Yeah, this whole Rams defense thing is they pretty good. I forget the dude's name that runs this defense. I really do. But man, he's got to be an up and coming candidate for a head coaching position, perhaps. Much like we question, from time to time before the season, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, who else is going to even be on this defense after you just maxed out those two guys and everybody else is, out here sweeping up dollar crumbs or whatever.
His name is real quick. It's Brandon Staley is his name.
That's right, Brandon Staley. Thank you for that. But can we also give some love to one Leonard Floyd? Leonard Floyd sacked Russell Wilson, I believe, 7 times this year. 7 times in 3 games. That's something to behold. You got him out here doing his thing. John Johnson at safety, I thought he had a pretty good night. And then Darius Williams, what a play Darius Williams made on that little quick screen that he just steps in front of the receiver and it's just a pick six. That defense, I can't say enough about them. That was a great performance. Offensively, with the Rams, well, I mean, I think it pretty much it starts and stops with Cam Akers. What a job by the rookie from Florida State, who as the season is worn on has cemented himself as their you got Malcolm Brown and Darrell Henderson back there as well, but Akers is he's the guy now in my estimation. We kind of wondered where they would go and what it would look like with no Todd Gurley, and we know at least I still believe that Jared Goff needs to be propped up by a superior run game, especially on a night where he can't throw the football accurately at all. I mean, 9 for 19, that thumb appeared to still be a real issue for him. But give credit to Sean McVay, give credit to this Rams defense. Aaron Donald leading the charge once again. He was an absolute stud on the field. And then to Seattle, I think you can be just somewhat, maybe a little less disappointed in Seattle than you were Pittsburgh, or maybe it's the same thing. I know Seattle was ranked Super Bowl pick in that conference. But I mean, what is this? I mean, Russell Wilson, 11 for 27. I mean, that's not excusable no matter the defense. So I just don't know. And it seemed like the second half of the season, they just kind of got into some bit of a rut. DK Metcalf, had a, by the numbers, it looks okay, but I still don't think his overall impact was what you would want. Tyler Lockett's a no-show. They didn't have anybody else in this receiving core do anything. I mean, it just starts and stops to me, 11 for 27. I mean, from Russell Wilson, guy who expect, to be in the MVP conversation year after year, and who we look at, I think, as a, top 3 quarterback, it's just inexcusable. That Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll, they gotta be better than this. You can't be getting bounced in the first round.
Yeah, highly disappointed. And for me, this one was a little more disappointing than Pittsburgh. So I just thought Pittsburgh just was lackluster at best, losing in Cleveland. But Seattle was my Super Bowl pick before the season. Now, I did waiver off of them for the same reason I'm about to say. No, this was Russell Wilson all year. He was in the MVP conversation. Then he go to Buffalo and lose. And after that, it was just, Buffalo come to them, but still they lost. And this was Russell Wilson. And I felt like, as Jay said, you would just think, okay, it's the postseason. It's Russell Wilson. It's Pete Carroll. They'll get it done at least for one win. They'll win the wild card game. Much credit to the Los Angeles Rams defense. And let me say this. Hey, Jalen Ramsey, I don't care what you had to do to get out of Jacksonville. You deserve all that. Like, yo, you the truth. Like, this dude and shut down during everybody he had to guard this year. He ain't messing around. And we know what Aaron Donald is. Aaron Donald, his reputation speaks for himself, right? This defense was incredible. Like, I remember I was thinking the Rams was gonna be a floor mat. Didn't take them serious. They spending all this money. They're gonna have to pay it back. Sean McVay ain't as smart as people think. Yeah, everything was going down. And then the next thing you know, look what we got here. And they beat Seattle ought to be ashamed of this. You lost to Jared Goff. Jared Goff already just the factory of Jared Goff without being hurt or anything ain't really, nothing to be, right home about. And then you got beat with a Jared Goff with 9 good working fingers. 9. So you got to think to yourself, after you smoke old Waffle, you got him out of here. So you would think, oh, okay, now we got a little advantage. And then Waffle come back and he doing a Teddy 2-step out there on the sideline because they won the game. Like, and I know that has nothing to do with the overall result of the game, but I just thought I would mention. So, listen, Metcalf, 5 receptions. Yeah, it looked good, but Jalen Ramsey, he locked you up.
11 targets.
11 targets. Okay, bam. Jalen Ramsey, he ate your lunch. Oh, hey, Tyler Lockett, where was you? What was Tyler Lockett?
He had one nice catch.
Yeah,
he was 2 for 43. Longest was 24 yards. He had 2 20-yard catches basically.
Oh well, his stats look just like his performance. Not it, cause I don't know. Like, see how I was hot at this point. I was cussing, fussing. I'm a little over it now, but I was like, what is this? But the Rams, I got to get the Rams credit. And Cam Akers, listen, young fella. I was told the Rams didn't even have an offensive line, but somehow he calls out 131 yards. So it got to be a line somewhere. But listen, good win for the Rams. And I'm interested to see how it go down this weekend. But look, good win for the Rams. And Seattle, I don't know what you do. You got, where do you go from here? More offensive linemen? Hey, Pete Carroll, maybe you just might want to upgrade that offensive line. So, but doesn't need to hear no there.
Draft another linebacker.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, man. Talk about Cam Akers, man. He's so talented. I know, like, the last year at Florida State, I watched all those games. That offensive line, I would have argued on my deathbed or on anything you want to put my hand on, that was the worst offensive line in Power 5 football, and it wasn't close. Like, I think the Rams saw in him was correct, that he got drafted ahead of where he was projected for a good reason. Now, I would still try to get one more back. 28 carries, 131 yards. That's a lot of work. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but the guy's a stud. He's special. He can do it all in the backfield. You get like a big, like, bowling ball type running back behind him to just kind of soak up some of those carries. They're going to be set. They had a really good draft, a better one than they should have had, given the expectations. And then, Jared Goff comes in here with one. Your throwing hand, having your thumb injured is a really big deal. I mean, it's a really big. You talk quarterback coaches and dudes that have thrown. It's a big deal. And for him, he did not look great, obviously, but he made the right plays. He didn't throw a pick. He didn't do anything dumb. He just took what they gave him, and that defense carried him, man. And what's funny about that defense, it's not just Ramsey and Donald. There's plenty of dudes. I mean, it's like everyone is just somehow good. Like, everywhere you go, there's just another defensive back making a play, or another linebacker flying around, or a pass rusher. Even when Aaron Donald comes out, they were still tearing him up. I forgot he left. That whole quarter he had left, I was like, who is that? It's insane. So they've built a team there, man. And I'll give Seahawks. You're wasting Russell Wilson. You are absolutely wasting him. I mean, you're gonna get 10, 11 wins, sure, but this is ridiculous. I mean, this offensive line was absolutely horrible. I get the Rams are good. I get they have a good pass rush, but you went out and drafted a linebacker. Well, to replace who? Bobby Wagner? Oh, let's see. Oh, he had 16 total tackles, 11 solo, a sack, a tackle for loss, and a quarterback hit. But you really needed Jordan Brooks, right? You couldn't have used a center or a guard to maybe help out with Donald or any. No, just Another linebacker. That'll probably fix it. It's supremely disrespectful to Wilson, and he didn't have a great game. He really didn't. I'm not sure what he was supposed to do. His best weapon is DK Metcalf. He had a Jalen Ramsey-shaped backpack on everywhere he went. The rest of the guys didn't show up. I don't think Chris Carson's all that good.
That was good.
I mean, I don't. Like you watch his Chris Carson stuff. I mean, he's fine. I don't know. I've never been impressed. Bottom line, though, this was. I ain't trying to slander the man, but I don't know. Like, I need some more out of that. He had a fine stat line, 16 for 77. It's not bad, but I don't know. It just feels like they only really have Russell Wilson and then just some parts, and it just the defense is here and there, and I don't know. This team needs to be blown up or they need to be managed better. But they signed their GM for another 100 years and they fired their offensive coordinator. So I don't know. Maybe
if you feel that strongly about your GM, then he should probably do a little bit better at certain positional groupings. I don't think the problem with Seattle, I think, is they're not good up front. I don't think on either side. They're not particularly impressive in the trenches on either side. And that's where most football games are won and lost.
Yeah, offensive line.
Hey, before we transition, before we transition, could you hit that one more time? What did DK Metcalf have on
Had
again?
himself a Jalen Ramsey shaped backpack.
I like that.
He had his, and if you look at the coverage stats, just Ramsey versus him, it's even better. I mean, the few passes he got, Ramsey wasn't in like man-to-man, single coverage. So it's disgusting. But anyway, moving on. We have two other games here. Less shocking results, obviously. Brady and the Bucs, they put away the football team 31-23 Saturday night. Brady, he was, playoff Tom. He threw for 381 yards, 2 touchdowns. Without Alex Smith, though, Washington, they still put up a fight, led by backup quarterback Taylor Heineke. Heineke, yeah. I remember how they were saying it. He threw for 306 yards. He ran for 46 more, and he tried to gut out a win, man, but he did fall short. So, Drink, we kind of expected this from the Bucs. Did this performance really kind of move the needle on this team for you going forward?
For the Bucs or the Washington football team?
For the Bucs, like as you look at the rest of the playoffs.
Oh, the rest of the playoffs. I don't know, man. You're gonna play a little stiffer competition. You ain't playing no Tyler Heineke's for the rest of the playoffs. So actually, for me, it might cause a little pause because I was thinking this game was going to be over in 3 quarters, and then the 4th quarter was just going to be, hey, man, let's get some of these other guys in, and that didn't happen. I mean, like you asked this question earlier, a win is a win. Yes, a win is a win. So I'm not knocking it, but I'm going to tell you like this, they're going to have to play a lot better than this to beat whoever the win this weekend because you ain't getting no Tyler Heineke. And did I say Tyler Heineke? Let's go ahead and bring him on in on the big screen. I think this dude was a pleasant surprise for Ron Rivera. I really do. I ain't Ron Rivera, he was like, whatever. We playing with house money. Let me go roll this cat out here that I ain't never heard of or seen before. And then he went out there and listen, for what it's worth, I thought he played well. Like this no-name dude, like for what it's worth, I thought he played. He made some plays. He made that offense look better than we thought it would look, because I thought that offense was going to be downright just stagnant, a bunch of 3-and-outs. But no, he moved the ball, and as you see in the box score, like they played. I like this guy. I wondered if this guy got a future on the football team, but I like what I seen out of him for this one game. And let's remember this: this one game was a playoff game. It wasn't Week 16, the team that locked up the playoff spot and they resting everybody. No. This is a playoff game, so it mattered. So he played the best Tampa Bay Bucs defense that you're gonna get because all the starters out there, and he played well, I thought. Cam Sims, I left this game thinking this. For everything that we say about the Washington football team, I think next year they could possibly be something. They could possibly be a contender. And why do I say that? Is because Ron Rivera seems to be breaking this team down and building it back up kind of. And I like, he still need to get a quarterback. It's still a lot of pieces he need to get, but he seems to have these guys spirited and want to play for him. It's not none of this lackadaisical, poo-poo, poor me, oh, they got rid of Haskins. It's none of that. So I really like what the football teams are doing in the future. Now, over to Tampa Bay, Tom Brady did Tom Brady things. We had Leonard Fournette almost ran for 100. That's a good sign. With Ronald Jones out, you can depend on Leonard Fournette a little more. So I like that. You got Mike Evans. You had Chris Godwin, and then we even had Antonio Brown sighting. So I think they have the pieces. I guess the question for me is, can the Bucks pieces come together well enough to win this weekend? Because now you're going to be playing a team that can do what you can do. Where not you're not playing a team that's deficient at, key positions, I should say. You're not playing a one-sided team. You're going to play a little more balanced. So, can you do it again? But, I think the game went out the way we seen it going out. But shout out to old Heineke. I seen you, baby. I seen you.
Yeah, this performance for Tampa Bay, will start there. It didn't move the needle for me much at all. Tampa Bay, they did what they had to do. They took care of business. I really thought, for Washington to win this game, their defensive line would really need to really dominate and keep the heat on Brady the whole game. They did have 3 sacks, but it wasn't the consistent pressure that you would need to make him really uncomfortable and get a turnover here and there. They couldn't force him into an awful decision. But I will say for Washington, and I'm not going to come out here and say that, oh yeah, they found their guy, they found him. No, I don't think that happened. But at minimum, Ron Rivera can look at this guy, Taylor Heineke, and say, you know what, at minimum, we got a guy, that can come in and compete on any given day and give us a chance. So at minimum, they have themselves what looks to be a very competent backup. I think, that's something, to be proud of. He came out there in a playoff game on a big stage against the GOAT. He put up a whale of a fight. He didn't have much of a running game supporting him, although, it was the number 1 ranked run defense, Tampa Bay. So we do got to give them credit for that. But for Tampa Bay, moving forward, they got the Saints this weekend. The Saints is not the red team, as I call them. They bring in all of it. The Saints don't have much of a weakness in my estimation. They're going to come out there with they got multiple cover guys. Their defensive line, they can get pressure. Demario Davis, a linebacker. In Tampa Bay, week 1, it was statistically it was kind of a somewhat close game, but they lost by double digits. And in the second round 2, it was a knockout in the early rounds. So this performance doesn't. I'm not encouraged by this at all. If they want to beat New Orleans, they're going to have to play a lot better, or New Orleans is going to have to play a lot worse. But as currently constructed, Tampa Bay fans should feel pretty uneasy heading into the divisional round.
Yeah, I think that I would say some of this could have been Tampa Bay just maybe underestimating Washington a little bit. I don't know if they expected that kind of resistance, especially because remember it was kind of like a game time. Is Alex Smith going to play? Is he not? And it's like, oh, Alex Smith didn't even play him. Well, let's just get on out of here. And then this other dude shows up, a 4th-year man out of Old Dominion of all places. He wasn't even on a roster last year. Heineke, he was literally not. He was. I think they said he was studying in college. He was studying. He studies quantum physics or some crazy nonsense. But this dude just shows up in balls, and it's like, well, Dwayne who? We got here's one of our guys right here. So I don't think he's going to be the starter going into next year off of 1 game. But you got to wonder how some of these guys just kind of slip through the cracks with these first round picks. They get to be tolerated and they get kicked around to 7 teams, and it's like, man. But anyway, Heineke aside, obviously Washington was just outgunned. The vast talent difference, made it up. You got to think though, it's the Tampa Bay team. If it's going to click, if all these talent and all this stars, all these older guys and whatever is all going to mesh and they're going to click, this is when you got to do it, right? Because you're coming up to your back's going to be against the wall next week. But I think this is a good tune-up game. I like what I saw from Leonard Fournette. He had a nice night. Maybe they'll lean on him more in the playoffs. I don't know. But overall, yeah, I think as expected. But Washington was a pleasant surprise, and like you said, Drink, the future's bright for this team. There's some moves, but Rivera. He's got a core here. I think they can really build off of it. But you're 7-9. You shouldn't be in the playoffs anyways. This is all gravy. Anyway, and finally, the most expected outcome: the Saints were able to dispatch the Bears 21-9 in a game that wasn't as close as 21-9 even sounds. Drew Brees was classic. Alvin Kamara was a workhorse, and the Saints defense was a brick wall. The Bears couldn't mount much of an attack, despite the defense hanging tough for a while. So pretty cut and dry right here, Jay. Just vast differences in these teams.
I gotta really give credit to New Orleans for just, far too often, we look at 2 teams and we just say, this is what should happen. And it's so nice when a team actually comes out there and handles their business. not like Pittsburgh or Seattle. So thank you so much, New Orleans, for being who we thought you were.
No, we need to thank the Bears for being who we thought they were. That's what we
and the Bears. What can you say about the Saints? I mean, as I just said, I don't think they're so well balanced. If you nitpick, you still, I think, maybe you'd like to see them, throw the ball down the field a little bit more. But listen, they run the ball, they play defense. They got two running backs that can get it done. Taysom Hill comes in there and does, the Swiss Army knife type thing. Drew Brees, he is accurate. He's on time, just running that offense to perfection. Michael Thomas comes back there, makes an impact. Deontay Harris, excuse me. He's doing all kind of things in the short passing game. Hell, he was pretty much. I don't think he's had that much work. 7 for 83. That was a big game for him. And then on the other side, the New Orleans Saints basically just were a stop sign out there and said, you're not Chicago offense. No, you're not doing anything. And then of course Jimmy Graham would score a touchdown with 0 seconds left in the game to make it look like, oh yeah, we almost covered the spread, or I don't know, whatever they're trying to prove there. The Bears, more than anything else, more than Washington, and more than the red team, they had no business being in the playoffs. They didn't, and I'm so glad that they've been dispatched properly back to the Windy City. Bundle up, stay warm. But enjoy the playoffs with the rest of us on the couch.
So check this out, right? I'm gonna start out with this Jimmy Graham crap. Yeah, the last time you see some dude with a walk-off touchdown and they still lose. He had a walk-off touchdown. He had time on the clock. He holding the ball.
Catch. That was a beautiful catch. That was a one-handed, it was beautiful. But,
he's celebrating, and the Saints like, oh, hey man, go take that L on back to the locker room.
Can I just say, even with that, Trubisky out here still with a 13 QBR.
So listen, and I'm pretty sure the Saints was like, hey Jimmy, hey, remember when you played for us and you wanted wide receiver money? Hey, good luck with that. So
enough.
Look, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet, just like we did last week, because I ain't wasting my time on these sorry ass Bears. You can go ahead, best believe it. But I think the Saints, they did what they were supposed to do. I think Jay summed that up pretty good. And thank you, Bears, for being the Bears, because your sorry ass shouldn't have been in the playoffs either. At least Washington showed us something. They gave us Heineke. What did you give us? A walk-off touchdown for the L? Get out of here. Yeah, that's all I got for this game.
Yeah, I feel a little bad for the Bears defense. They tried. They sure tried, but this offense is so unbelievably putrid. I thought the Bears corners were a little better than they played. They were kind of getting tore up a little bit, but maybe I was just imagining that. And I did halfway expect Trubisky to come out here and pull some crap and actually put up a game and then make them reconsider all their life decisions at this point, but he did not. He did not. David Montgomery did not. And free my man Allen Robinson. He's getting out of town. Give him a ticket. Just send his stuff later on. You can come home, man. We'll take you back. We will pay you whatever you want. Come on home. I heard the stat today on him real quick. This poor guy, since he's been in the NFL, that they've ruled that 64% of his passes he's been thrown have been deemed catchable. I'll just leave it at that. Saints advance.
I'm totally down for Allen Robinson Jacksonville reunion. I'd like to see that.
We got Trevor Lawrence, man. We got maybe Herbs. I don't know. It'll be fun. Just come on.
That dude's really never had a quarterback, and yet it's hard. It's hard to justify it, but the guy probably make a good case for him being a top 10 receiver. That guy's great.
Oh yeah, if he had a quarterback, it'd be no competition. He's going to get paid. He is going to get paid this offseason, which is good. He deserves it.
He a poor man's DeAndre Hopkins.
That is, well, maybe that's good.